Hi dancers! It's teacher Lina. Today we're going to be talking about something exciting, and I just want to say it's our anniversary month. This is my first vlog for the anniversary, and I really wanted to talk about our sustainability journey, and I feel as though this is a really good update for everyone because we really want to make people aware of what's going around in the world, and also like the fabric waste and things like this. Very important about where our dancewear comes from, why we do what we do, and why I decided to use refurbished fabrics. So as you know, the past few months or maybe the past few weeks, we've been talking about, or we've been posting on our Instagram pages where we used refurbished fabrics. I've been asking help from you guys to choose my fabrics and also to choose the things that we do. I go through mountains, literally mountains of fabric. Like, I know there are deliveries of this. So how it works, and I'll start with that, is that the warehouses usually have all this fabric from different places. I cannot say where they came from, but different factories where they just discard parts of fabric. So for example, you cut this much of this item and there's like this much left of the roll, they technically just throw it away. I guess it's a lot cheaper to do that. I'm not an expert on this, but I would assume it's a lot cheaper to do that, and they don't want to keep the dead stock fabric in their stock room, right? You wouldn't want that if it's just like a few or so yards. But for us as dancers, it can be treasure. So for me, I feel as though this is a great way to promote just using fabrics that are already there instead of buying a new roll of fabrics. Initially, that's what I was doing, and I felt as though it was so costly, number one. Number two, if there were refurbished fabrics already that were off quality, like for example this cotton warmer fabric that I found, and it would be only good to make how many items, why not just use that? So that was the initial thought in my mind. There's so much to make with just the little amount of fabric, and I mean, you don't need a whole lot of the same thing anyway unless you're gonna mass produce. And here's my whole issue about mass produced things, or maybe fast fashion as we call it, is that it's so dangerous and so bad for the environment. I don't know if you're aware, dancers, if you look through, I'm sure you've seen some videos. Fabrics actually contain microplastics, and each time that you wash your fabrics, it's actually really bad for the environment, including the dye. Now, of course, I cannot control that because we use fabrics that are also coming from those factories, and I'm pretty sure the dye is still damaging to the environment maybe, but I want to reduce the fact that we buy so much new fabrics and add on to that. So that's where we're kind of coming from as a brand. I really want to reduce the fact that, you know, you have to buy new stock fabric, and then I would probably just throw off my excess as well if I turn into a huge or a bigger brand. It is a lot harder to do things like this. I will be honest, it's so much easier to just manufacture something, and I am not kidding, because if you go through this type of business, you know, the first thing you'll get is a lot, and I mean a lot, of inquiries and people messaging you saying, I'm a manufacturer from Bangladesh, from here, from there, or from India, wherever, and they'll always introduce themselves like this: would you like to make new dancewear? It's very easy. It's almost like this, and you can get your designs the way you want it, you want your prints the way you want it, and I get it. It is easy to do that, but you know, some things that come easy are really a lot more damaging to the environment. Sometimes I would watch through documentaries about this and how the dye is just so chemically bad and mixed, and it goes into your waters to the point that villages don't have clean water to drink anymore. And I just feel as though if we can help in any way, let's try to reduce waste by buying less of these fast fashion things, especially the cheap ones. And I know cheap can be good, and our items are actually not priced so bad, but we would love to pay seamstresses really good rates and at the same time not be so bad to the environment. So here's where my sustainability journey is at right now. We are using almost 80% refurbished fabrics. The only cotton we use are 100% organic, same for our t-shirts, and as well as our tote bags. So our tote bags right now are all organic fair trade cotton, and it has a logo here. I'm really happy and excited that I got to use fabric like this because it doesn't contain any dye. So the reason why This is also considered organic because I initially wanted this to be on a purple bag, but then when I found out it was really damaging to have it on a purple bag, not just because of the design, but also because of the dye that would fall off the bag, then I was thinking, okay, I don't care about the look if it's going to be a lot better for the environment. When I found out that dyes were so harmful to the environment, and maybe I should have known this, we don't realize that colored clothing or the things that we want so beautifully done, so damaging to the environment. And I feel as though we could just limit the use for now. And I hope in the future we'd have better alternatives, especially with recycled fabrics. Doing a lot of research on recycled fabrics right now since I'm considering using recycled fabrics. There's a plant, or there are a few plants, but not in the Philippines right now, that use recycled fabrics. Hopefully we can in the future make items using these types of fabrics. For now, I really want to just bring more awareness into what we are doing as a brand to help with that and to help combat that, because guys, it's so important to just be kind to everything, everyone, including your environment. We don't realize how big of a role this plays. I mean, without the place that we live in, which is our homes, our trees, and everything, the air we breathe, we are not going to move forward in any way, same as in dance. So I hope that this kind of encourages you to support our brand also, and our seamstresses and our initiative. Same with our seamstresses, I would like to kind of bring attention to how little they used to get. And I'm not saying I give them a whole lot. In fact, it's pretty difficult also to constantly pay your seamstresses, of course, because that would mean more demand. But what I'm saying is we pay them fairly for each item instead of the typical salary they'd probably get sewing all day inside a factory. I got them from that setting, and I remember saying, we're willing to offer you a lot better conditions. I mean, they can work from home, especially during COVID. It has been so helpful to them since they're able to stay with their families. So whoever you are, if you're supporting our brand, just know that your purchase goes such a long way. We help them with setting up their homes. We also help them with their groceries. Sometimes some of the purchases that you make probably go into their child's tuition, and right now I work with 3 single moms, and they're amazing and they provide for their families. And although it's not an ideal situation, I really hope that we can continue like this with them, and I hope that we can continue giving them jobs all the way till the future. So that's kind of where I am at right now with my seamstresses. So there, I am mostly looking into things like this for the brand, and I hope you learned a little something about sustainability also. Our packaging right now, although right now we are still using plastic bags, and I'm sure most of you know this, I have switched to biodegradable mailers for our shipping, and cassava mailers are great. So I'm using cassava mailers as well for our local shipping, or corn mailers for the fact sometimes, and it's a little more or a lot more expensive actually to be switching into being sustainable, but I feel as though in the long term it's going to be a lot worth it. What I'm looking for here is profitability, but also more profitability in a sense that it can be shared with everyone, and I can continue to do everything I love to do, such as dance, continue to dance, teach dance, but at the same time be able to help the community around me. And to add to our October month announcements, we're actually going to be opening, or I'm opening, a secondhand kind of pre-loved section on my shop, which is going to include a lot of my dancewear, which I feel as though can be loved by someone else. Some items from Shakot, and some items from really nice brands. I think a lot from Shakot, since I have so much Shakot items. And I've got also into my stash of Lucky Leos. I'm giving out some of them onto the second hand. I am doing this as a tester. I hope you can stay tuned for announcements. We're still working on details, but if you are from the Philippines, you will be able to sell your dancewear on our shop together with our items. So I think this might be a really good idea for us to kind of circulate dancewear. And I'm hoping in the future we can have this also internationally. And I'm hoping this can work also to give dancers some certain extra income into circulating their dancewear. So I guess that's more of the point, because I am a big fan of new things, but I'm also a big fan of thrifting things. So if there's a way that we can kind of control that, that's like perfect for me. Hopefully in the future we could all be just more conscious about what we are doing and putting into our everyday lives and everything. So I hope that this video kind of gives you a sense of what I am or who I am as a person and as a brand, because Dance by Lina really started from my love and everything. Yeah, my best friend helped me named it 6 years ago, because we're turning 6, or we've turned 6 this October 2021 in the pandemic, and I have everyone to thank for making us get to this point, because I remember starting as a small brand, doing everything myself, and now I'm so happy to call it a kind of home already. I know my studio was more of a home before my dancewear, but I'm glad to say that I'm able to call it a second home with all of you dancers. And if you watch my vlogs, I am really grateful. If you have any tips, suggestions, anything you'd love to hear on this channel, I am more than willing to do them in the next few months. And while we're still in this pandemic, I hope that everyone can be made aware of what we are doing in this situation, and also what we can do to contribute, because I feel as though the effect and the pandemic, it's like a problem that came up also because of the things we've neglected, and it includes the environment and the things that are around us. So instead of just thinking about us and us alone, and I do that very often for sure, it's not just you or me or, you know, everyone else, we all do this. We are often very selfish, and it's pretty normal, you know, we want to dance, we want to do this, we want to do that, but there are bigger problems also. And as a teacher, I always remind my students to give back in any way you can, in the form of dancing, of course, for us, but in a form that can give joy also to everyone else. I hope that you learned something new from this vlog of mine, and I hope that this continues to inspire you to move forward in dance, and of course in life, whatever it is, and to keep on smiling, to keep on using your head literally through your effleurement and figuratively in your head. I hope that you've learned a few things about the brand, and I'm hoping that in a few years we can really switch into a more sustainable kind of brand as a whole. But for now, I hope that I can help do my part in doing this. And this is again Teacher Lina of Dance by Lina Dancewear, and we hope to see you in our future vlogs and of course our updates. Thank you, dancers!